Delineation is documentation. Why freedman status must be recorded. Delineation is not division. Delineation is documentation. When FRFT and Freedmen Nation identify, verify, and record verified freedman status, we are not creating a new people. We are documenting a people already named in American law, federal records, land records, court records, labor records, bank records, census records, cemetery records, and family histories. The word freedman is not a slogan. It is a legal and historical status. After slavery, the United States created laws, agencies, and records specifically concerning freedmen. The Freedmen's Bureau Act of 1865 created the Bureau of Refugees, Freedmen, and Abandoned Lands, and placed freedmen within federal administrative record-keeping. Congress extended and amended that authority in 1866. These laws treated freedmen as a legally recognized post-slavery class whose labor, land, family, education, contracts, relief, and civil rights had to be addressed by government record. That is why documentation matters. The 13th Amendment ended slavery and gave Congress enforcement power. The 14th Amendment confirmed birthright citizenship and equal protection for formerly enslaved people and their successors. The Civil Rights Act of 1866 protected rights connected to contracts, courts, evidence, inheritance, property, and equal benefit of law. Those protections remain reflected today in 42 U.S.C. 1981 and 42 U.S.C. 1982. FRFT and Freedmen Nation operate from that legal reality. Status has to be documented before it can be protected. Under Tennessee trust law, a trustee has duties and powers to administer the trust according to its terms and purposes, keep adequate records, protect trust property, enforce trust claims, and sign instruments useful to carrying out trustee powers. Tennessee Code Annotated 35-15801 addresses the duty to administer the trust. Tennessee Code Annotated Bar 35-15810 requires adequate trust record keeping. Tennessee Code Annotated 35-15811 addresses enforcement and defense of trust claims. Tennessee Code Annotated 35-15-816 gives trustees specific powers to carry out trust administration. That means FRFT can lawfully maintain trust records, beneficiary records, genealogy verification files, institutional notices, status reports, cemetery documentation, heir property packets, and advocacy records connected to the trust's mission and beneficiaries. Freedmen Nation's verification process is not based on DNA, guesswork, or social media identity. It is based on records, family documentation, public records, federal records, census records, Freedmen's Bureau materials, Freedmen's Bank records, probate files, land records, cemetery evidence, and other supporting documents. This is why we say delineation is documentation. Delineation means we identify the legal and historical line. We separate record-based freedman status from general racial classification. We document who is connected to the American freedmen population through family history, legal records, and institutional evidence. We preserve the line because courts, counties, states, universities, reparations programs, cemetery authorities, and public institutions cannot protect what has not been properly documented. FRFT does not claim to replace a court, a county clerk, a state agency, or a federal agency. FRFT documents, preserves, verifies, and advocates. Our records can support institutional review, beneficiary recognition, heir property research, cemetery protection, legal referrals, and status-based policy discussions. That is lawful trust administration and lawful private record keeping. How the American Freedmen Legal Fund enforces these protections. The American Freedmen Legal Fund enforces through documentation, notice, preservation of evidence, institutional referral, public record review, attorney coordination, and statutory accountability. AFLF's work begins with the record. Once FRFT and Freedmen Nation document a verified freedman beneficiary, cemetery, heir property issue, civil rights concern, institutional harm, or family history claim, AFLF can use that documentation to put responsible parties on formal notice. That notice matters because many legal protections are triggered by knowledge, evidence, custody of records, government action, property impact, or discriminatory treatment. For civil rights matters, AFLF relies on the Reconstruction framework still alive in federal law. 42 U.S.C. 1981 protects equal rights tied to contracts, courts, evidence, and equal benefit of law. 42 U.S.C. featuring 1982 protects equal property rights, including rights connected to inheritance and ownership. When government actors or those acting under color of law deprive people of protected rights, 42 U.S.C. Taritefa 1983 provides a civil pathway for redress, and 18 U.S.C. 242 allows criminal civil rights referral where willful deprivation under color of law is involved. For cemetery, burial ground, and cultural preservation matters, AFLF uses documentation to demand review before graves, ancestral land, or historic sites are disturbed. Where federal funding, permits, licenses, or approvals are involved, Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act requires federal agencies to consider effects on historic properties. The Archaeological Resources Protection Act also protects archaeological resources on public and Indian lands. These laws do not replace state cemetery laws, but they create important federal review and preservation pathways when qualifying land, permits, agencies, or historic resources are involved. AFLF's enforcement model is pre-litigation and institutional. That means AFLF helps build the record before the courtroom. It prepares notices, status reports, evidence packets, public record requests, agency referrals, attorney intake packets, and beneficiary support files. When needed, AFLF can help move a matter toward legal counsel, state agencies, federal agencies, county officials, preservation offices, civil rights divisions, or public oversight bodies. This is enforcement through record power. AFLF does not need to be a court to preserve evidence. It does not need to be a government agency to issue notice. It does not need to be a law firm to organize facts, protect beneficiaries, request records, document harm, and refer matters for legal review. Its authority comes from FRFT's trust purpose, beneficiary authorization, documented freedman status, and the statutes that protect contracts, property, civil rights, ancestral sites, and equal access to law. That is why delineation matters. Once status is documented, harm can be named. Once harm is named, notice can be issued. Once notice is issued, institutions can no longer claim they did not know. Modern data principles also support the need for accurate classification. OMB Statistical Policy Directive Number 15 recognizes that race and ethnicity categories are socio-political constructs used for data collection and reporting, not biological definitions. The same principle matters here. Freedman status is not a DNA category. It is a documented historical, legal, and lineage-based status connected to America's post-slavery record. Our position is simple. Delineation protects records. Delineation protects families. Delineation protects cemeteries. Delineation protects heir property. Delineation protects lawful status-based advocacy. FRFT and Freedmen Nation are documenting what America already recorded, what families already preserved, and what institutions too often ignored. Delineation is documentation. Documentation is protection. And protection is the first step toward repair. Support the work. This documentation work takes time, records, research, technology, travel, public notices, cemetery review, legal intake support, and institutional follow-up. FRFT, Freedmen Nation, and the American Freedmen Legal Fund are doing the work to protect verified freedmen families, ancestral cemeteries, heir property, and status-based advocacy. Donations help support ongoing documentation, beneficiary support, preservation notices, public record requests, genealogy verification, and institutional advocacy. Donate through Cash App, Freedmen Legal Fund. Learn more or support the work at freedmennation.org. Hash sponsor of Freedmen Historical Marker. FRFT also invites families, businesses, institutions, and community supporters to sponsor a Freedmen Historical Marker. The Freedmen Historical Marker Program helps document, identify, protect, and maintain Freedmen ancestral sites, cemeteries, family land histories, and institutional memory. These markers are not just signs, they are public records of presence, survival, ownership, burial, labor, faith, and legacy. Sponsorship options include Digital Marker, a digital preservation marker connected to documented Freedmen history, family lineage, cemetery records, or community memory on Freedmen Nation's website. Physical Marker, a placed or site-connected marker recognizing verified Freedmen history, cemetery protection, land history, or ancestral presence. Physical marker sponsors may be recognized through platinum, gold, or silver sponsorship plates with a family name, business name, or institutional name. Anchor Marker, a higher-level preservation marker for major ancestral sites, cemeteries, land reclamation work, or long-term public history protection. Anchor marker sponsors may also be recognized through platinum, gold, or silver sponsorship plates. To donate, sponsor, or learn more, visit freedmennation.org.